We started with Paul Heyman and Jey Uso in the ring. Great hook. And then you see Paul Heyman in the back with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker and said, yeah, Jey Uso took the bait. We set it out there, and he took it. Then Adam Pearce makes it official that there is a match at the end of Monday Night Raw. Kudos to the WWE, because typically, Bully, where would that match take place? On the pay-per-view Saturday. Correct. But what we did is we got it in the main event last night. A reason to stick and stay for the 2.5 hours to watch that show to the end.
And when, in the beginning, when Uso fired back up on Heyman about that match, the any place, anytime, anywhere, I was preparing for Jey Uso to let that Omaha crowd down. Because normally it's, okay, as you said, okay, fine, I'll fight him at Backlash, in which you get the, But the minute he said, I'll do it tonight, I'll do it here in Omaha, wow, that place blew, and they were excited all night long.
Yeah, how could you not be? You're getting Seth Rollins and Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. And right now, Bully, and we've seen this time and time again with this World Heavyweight Championship, it's on Seth Rollins, Bully, which is kind of that workhorse champion. John Cena has the Undisputed Championship. Who knows, you're going to see it at Backlash, but you're not going to see John Cena defending that title much other than a major pay-per-view. Seth Rollins is showing you, hey, I'm going to defend it tonight on Monday Night Raw. I'm going to go after Jey Uso. Jey Uso has no problem, defending that championship. You got a workhorse like Seth Rollins, a former champion, and you have Jey Uso's your current champion, Bully. That's exciting stuff to have in your main event on a Monday Night Raw. How could you not be excited for that match last night?
I want to start off with this. Did anything stick out to you about why that match really worked? After the match was over, I tweeted. And I said, when pro wrestling is done correct, and I put correct in quotes, that's what it looks like, that's what it feels like, that's what we got at the end of Monday Night Raw. Now, there is one thing that annoyed me about the end of the match. Remind me to tell you about it.
Okay.
But when it's done correct, that's what we get. What was done, was there anything that you noticed that was done more correct than we see anywhere else in pro wrestling?
Well, I mean, you're going to tell me, but all I can say is the effect of it. The fans were buying into everything that was happening in the ring, and they were buying into the characters.
What were they doing that gave the fans the proper amount of time to emotionally invest in everything that they did?
Sell?
Ding, ding, ding. Circle gets the square. Now, I don't know if you like Dinty Moore beef stew or rice-a-roni or turtle wax, but you get your choice.
I'm not getting turtle wax because I'm not going to wax my own car.
All right.
Number one. Rice-a-roni's way too salty, so
yeah.
I'm probably going to say the Dinty Moore stew.
Dinty Moore beef stew has a ton of sodium, Dave. Anyway.
You're not giving me much of a choice here, Bully.
Dude, the way they sold after everything, which allowed it to breathe. So yes, are they hitting a lot of big moves on one another? Absolutely. But the big moves and then the selling, the big moves, the 1-2 kick, it's the selling and the registering after the kickouts that make it work. That and then the crowd is allowed to emotionally invest, and then they're allowed to re-simmer, re-boil, boil over. Oh, that's why it works so well. And that's what I mean by done correctly. I got to give Seth Rollins his props, man. We break Seth Rollins' balls a lot on this show, but it's never about his pro wrestling. It's about the look. It's about mostly it's about the look.
No, I think it is about the look more than anything else.
But
for sure.
My God, Seth Rollins is an amazing professional wrestler. And with all due respect to Jey Uso, who I love, Seth Rollins made sure Jey Uso got through that match. Either Jey was selling so phenomenally But there were times where I felt like, wow, Seth is getting him through, because this is upper echelon world heavyweight champion style work, which Jey does not have a lot of exposure with, and Seth does. So, when you start to climb that ladder, when you're up there amongst the best pro wrestlers in the world, if you're not used to it, if you've only had a taste of it, you can't do it as well as the full-time main eventers. I hope I'm making sense here, because I'm trying to put Jey in the best possible light. And this could happen to anybody who doesn't have as much in-ring world championship time with the way a match is supposed to move and flow, be dictated as Seth Rollins does. But man, Seth was off the frickin' charts last night.
I think Seth Rollins showed why he's one of the best wrestlers in the world last night. And every time he has that challenge in front of him, he knocks it down. He knocks it out of the park. And last night was an example of that. You're right, Bully. We get on Seth a lot because of the look. I still think they're making a mistake keeping Seth's music. I would take that away if you really want the fans to boo him. Strip everything away from Seth Rollins that makes him likable. I think it really hurt Sami Zayn last week. It didn't hurt Jey Uso this week because of all the stuff that you put into it last night. But I would take that music away because he would truly be hated. But he is definitely one of the best wrestlers in the world. And when you look at the upper echelon of the WWE, you have to put Seth Rollins' name on that list.
There was a couple of moments in the match where timing could have been improved. The screws could have been tightened. Jey was selling for an abundance of time. He might have even been a little blown and was trying to get a couple of extra breaths in, but Seth knew it was time to get to the next thing, and Seth was being an incredible ring general last night. More importantly than being a great professional wrestler, ring general. Dave, I'll never forget the sense of pride that I had. One night, Jerry Briscoe calls me in, and this is probably about a year into me and Devon being with the WWE, probably within 2000. And Jerry Briscoe calls me in, and this is when Jerry was running Gorilla. And Jerry asked me, all right, Bubba, what do you got tonight? I said, Jerry, and whoever we were working with that night had more time than, it might have been the APA, right? It might have been Ron Simmons and Bradshaw. I said, Jerry, with all due respect, I'm not the senior guy in this match, so I don't feel comfortable dictating to you. He goes, Bubba, you're the ring general. You give it to me. I was like, whoa. That's the first time anybody's ever said that to me before. And that's Jerry Briscoe calling me a ring general. That feels good when they have confidence in you to call you a general. That means they know you can get anybody through anything. I'm only bringing that story up about me because it brought back a proud moment for me. So I just wanted to share it with you.
And I would think that they have that type of confidence with Seth Rollins. I know that Jey Uso's
they've had
the
that
champ.
confidence with Seth a long time ago. But last night I really, really saw it. I saw Seth with eyes in the back of his head. I saw him conducting a symphony out there. The match is great. The selling is great. The false finishes are great. The amount of time, everything in between was great. The crowd was great. And then, oh, by the way, here come the run-ins. Layered properly, the heel run-in, then the Uber babyface run-in for the save in CM Punk. People had no idea he was going to be there. Everybody's going crazy. Everything with a crescendo. It all came together. That's what it's supposed to look like, feel like. That's what it looks like and feels like when it's done correct. And Dave, why do I put correct in quotes in my tweet?
Why?
Because this is art. And is there really a correct way to do this?
That's
yes,
perception.
There is.
But
there is.
And you notice it when it's done right.
And last night, it was done right. And any pro wrestler listen right now is like, Bubba, blah, 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 blah. Fuck you. Last night is what happens when it's done right.
And, and no disrespect to Omaha, when you think of hot crowds that are going to be on their feet, Omaha is not the city that comes to mind. But they were last night. They were last night, can I tell you, Bully? Throughout the entire show. They were buying in, they were hot throughout the entire 2.5 hours of Monday Night Raw last night.
They set the table really well. They gave you Detroit Rock City with Paul and Jey, and Jey paid it off with, you're getting this match tonight. So of all places in the United States now it's God's green earth with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown because they do it all over the world. Of all the places in the world to get a World Heavyweight Championship match, Omaha, frickin' Nebraska. I don't think these people were expecting that, and they were hot for it all night. But what did the WWE do in the 2 hours from the beginning to the end? They gave you a good show. They gave you a hot show. They gave you things to get into. Pat McAfee standing there and putting the town over as strong as he did. Here's what bothered me at the end of the match. It's a little thing, but the little things mean something to me. What did we not hear at the end of the match?
What?
The bell ring.
Is that true?
I didn't hear a bell ring. Did you hear an official anything? I didn't hear a bell. I didn't hear an official decision.
Yeah,
I know why they did it. I know why they did it. But it still feels odd to not get the bell and not get an official decision.
I'm guessing it was a disqualification or no contest or
I don't know. Nobody told me.
That's crazy. You know what? I was so caught up in the action at the end of that match that I didn't even notice.
And that's why they did it. Right there. Now you can have Dinty Moore beef stew and you can have rice-a-roni. That's a shitload of sodium, though, brother. That's why they didn't do it, because you were so caught up in the moment, they didn't want the bell to distract you, or they didn't want a negative announcement to bring you down. Because who got disqualified last night?
It would have to be Jey.
Right. And the winner of the match?
The winner of the match was Seth Rollins.
So instead of leaving on the boo, they left on the yay. And that is the magic of what we do.
Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't even notice it until you brought it up. I will say this: like when they made the official announcement of the match, Bully, I'm like, all right, it's going to be a cluster. Sami Zayn's going to come out, Braun Breaker's going to get involved. There was no thought at all that we might see a championship title change hands last night. That was the furthest thing from my mind. Until the match. There was a point during that match I was like, holy shit, Seth Rollins is going to win the title tonight. And really, if you thought about it, if it wasn't for the interference, Seth Rollins would have won the title last night. Like that, even though we're so smart to things, and this is where, again, that response from The Rock bothers me so much. That as smart as we are, and we know the story that's being told, and we know the outcome, most likely, of the story. When you're in it, you really don't know what's going to happen. And when I was in that match last night, I was believing what I was seeing, Bully. As you always say, believe. I was believing in what I was seeing, and I really thought we were going to have a new World Heavyweight Champion last night.
Last night, when you get caught up in all the false finishes, right? You forget that what you're seeing is sports entertainment because you get so caught up in believing.
Yeah,
and that's the beauty of what we do.
Let me ask you a question. With the story that's being told with Paul Heyman and this faction and Braun Breaker and now with Seth Rollins, do you think Jey Uso is going to carry this title for a significant amount of time?
I do not think that Jey will be carrying it for a significant amount of time, nor do I think I need to see Jey carry it for a significant amount of time. I think that title on Seth Rollins' waist with Paul Heyman by his side is the way to go. I really do.
I don't know where else you can go with Seth Rollins. I think with Seth Rollins, you know how we said with Roman Reigns?
Listen, what are you going to pay for? Are you going to pay to see Jey Uso retain every night, or are you going to pay money to see CM Punk chase Seth Rollins for that championship?
CM Punk chased Seth Rollins for the championship.
I can't believe it took you that long to answer.
No, I think, and I don't think I'm alone in that. I think the WWE universe eventually wants to see CM Punk with the World Heavyweight Championship title around his waist.
Absolutely, and you might get it as soon as SummerSlam. Could.
Yeah.
Do I think that's too soon? Sure. But man, if you could plant the seeds right now for Punk Rollins WrestleMania.
I think, and already CM Punk has planted the seeds. Now it's like, all right, I got a main event at WrestleMania, but it was night number 1. Now I want a main event night number 2. If CM Punk is either your champion or has an opportunity to win the championship, I think that's your main event night number 2 of next year's WrestleMania in New Orleans.
Very well could be.
And that's saying a lot because you still have this Universal Championship. John Cena by next year's WrestleMania, Bully. John Cena, you're not even going to remember John Cena. I mean, John Cena's wrapping it up in December of this year. Okay? So that's, 4 or 5 months before next year's WrestleMania, Bully? Like, are you even going to be thinking about the 17th title run? John Cena? You're not. Who knows? Maybe Cody Rhodes isn't even your champion by next year's WrestleMania. I honestly think the story for next year's WrestleMania is going to be CM Punk. Because, Bully, we know this with CM Punk. There's an expiration date on CM Punk. CM Punk has gotten injured a lot these last few years. He's gotten injured in AEW. He's gotten injured in the WWE. If you're going to pull the plug on this type of moment for CM Punk, wouldn't you think it has to be next year's WrestleMania 42?
Oh, absolutely. I'm all about getting that championship on Seth Rollins. I think Seth will do a good job with it, especially with Heyman by his side right now. Punk, the chase, the payoff at Mania. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out. I would love to see that. I think the Jey Uso story has gone very well, breaking away from the tag team, being an incredibly popular singles guy, which is difficult to do. Jey Uso was synonymous with his brother. But then, I mean, God, Jey has done an incredible job of pulling away from Jimmy. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way to Jimmy. But man, when you think of you don't even think of the Usos as a tag team anymore.
No, not right now.
It really is about Jey.
Not right now. And
I think he did a great job within the Bloodline storyline. At the end of the day, you could say the entire Bloodline storyline was about Jey Uso. Branching out, the chase, the victory, the this and that. Jey's done.